Hey everyone. So let's take a look at the world on this one particular day, February 17th, 2026. You know, any single day is this wild mix of stories, and today is a perfect example. We're about to see everything from super high-stakes negotiations to brewing conflicts, and even the cultural moments that tie us all together.
And that's really the big question for today, isn't it? Are we looking at a day of progress, of peace talks, or is the world kind of holding its breath, right on the very edge of something else? The answers, as you're about to see, are definitely not simple.
All right, let's start with the hopeful stuff. We're going to head into those quiet rooms where leaders are trying to hash things out, focusing on diplomacy, new agreements, and the whole art of the deal.
Okay, so a lot of eyes are on Geneva today. But what's really fascinating is that you've got two totally separate, super high-stakes negotiations happening at the same time. On one side, you have Trump envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner in indirect talks with Iran about its nuclear program versus sanctions relief. And then, at the same time, the U.S. is trying to broker a peace between Ukraine and Russia. But wow, they are just miles apart on territory. So yeah, two crucial talks, and honestly, no one knows how either is going to turn out.
But you know, not every negotiation today is that nail-biting. Check this out. A whopping 99%. That's the percentage of tariffs getting slashed on U.S. exports to Taiwan in a brand new trade deal. This is a massive win for American farmers and industry. And think about it. In a part of the world with so much tension, a strong economic partnership like this, that sends a pretty big message.
And diplomacy isn't always about countries talking to each other. Sometimes it's about a country finding its own stability. That's exactly what's happening in Bangladesh. After a long 18 months with an interim government, they've had a huge election, and today a new government is being formed. That is a really big deal for the nation's future.
Okay, so we've seen the handshakes, the agreements, the deals. But on this very same day, if you look elsewhere, the vibe is completely different. Let's shift gears now and look at the places where things are heating up fast.
And this slide, man, it just says it all, right? In one corner of the world, you've got diplomats talking things out, and in another, you have warships on the move. It's this crazy split-screen reality we're living in, where peace efforts and war preparations are happening at the exact same time.
The Middle East, in particular, feels like a powder keg today. Get this, a second U.S. aircraft carrier just arrived in the Arabian Sea right as Iran is running its own war games. Meanwhile, Gaza ceasefire talks, they've completely stalled. In Lebanon, a drone strike killed 4 people, smashing a ceasefire. And to top it all off, a huge transfer of almost 6,000 suspected ISIS fighters is making everyone nervous about security in Iraq. I mean, each one of these could explode.
And, you know, tension isn't just about military hardware. Words matter. A lot. On Air Force One today, President Trump was asked about Cuba, and his response was intense. He called it a failed nation, and then flat out said he's not ruling anything out when it comes to military action. That kind of talk just throws gasoline on the fire.
So, you might be thinking, where does all this come from? Well, nothing happens in a vacuum, right? So much of what's going on today is really an echo from the past. Let's dig into 3 stories where you just can't escape the shadow of history.
It's a cliché, but it's so true. The past is never really past. It's alive, and it's shaping our world right now. And today's news gives us 3 completely different but powerful examples of that.
First up, a huge update in the case of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny. You've got 5 major European powers, the UK, France, Germany, Sweden, and the Netherlands, all putting their names on a single joint report. Now, just getting these 5 to agree on anything is a big deal, so it tells you how seriously they're taking this. And what they're saying, well, it's explosive.
So what did they find? The report alleges Navalny was poisoned with a toxin from, get this, poison dart frogs. Now that is incredibly specific. This isn't something you just cook up in your basement. Using a poison that rare and complex points the finger directly at a state-level operation with some serious resources. It makes the accusation just chilling.
And sometimes history comes for individuals. Today, we're seeing this incredible, almost poetic contrast in how legacies are being defined. On one side, you have the executive chairman of Hyatt, Thomas Pritzker, resigning after his name popped up in newly released Epstein files, a legacy of infamy. And on the exact same day, tributes are pouring in from all over the world for the Reverend Jesse Jackson, the civil rights icon who passed away at 84, a legacy of honor. It's just, wow, a stark reminder of how our actions define us.
All right, after all that heaviness, the politics, the conflicts, let's pull back. Let's zoom out. Because on this very same day,
There are things happening that connect all of us, no matter where we live or what we believe. Things that are part of our shared human calendar.
And it's a beautiful mix, isn't it? Today marks the first day of Ramadan for millions of Muslims, a time of faith and reflection. It's also a day of pure wonder, with a solar eclipse gracing our skies. And for the tech-obsessed among us, it's a day of major anticipation, thanks to a little teaser from Apple. Faith, wonder, and curiosity. These are things that bring us together.
So what kind of eclipse was it? An annular eclipse. This one was mostly visible from Antarctica, so not many people saw it live. But it's the kind where the moon is just a little too far from Earth to completely cover the sun. And what you get is this breathtaking ring of fire. How cool is that?
And speaking of things that get people talking, Apple did what Apple does best. They started the hype train. They just teased a special experience event for next month, happening in New York, London, and Shanghai, all at once. The rumor mill is already going crazy, of course. Everyone's betting on new iPads and maybe, just maybe, a more affordable iPhone 17. It's a great reminder of how we're all kind of connected by our excitement for what's next.
So, that brings us back to where we started. One day, February 17th, 2026. A day filled with peace talks and warships. A day where we're reckoning with the ghosts of the past while also getting excited about the gadgets of the future. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? When you look at all of it together, what's the real story of our time? What defines us? Is it the conflict or is it the connection? And maybe the most important question of all, where is all of this taking us?